blood red, and the sky mirrored that throbbing apocalyptic color in an even more ominous dark fashion. After an endless period of sliding, the ground suddenly began to shake and tremble horribly. A rumbling, buzzing cacophony filled the air. The world erupted around me in destruction as my vision of the mountain's obliteration came to pass. The whole earth shook as if it was the end of all things. And indeed it was the end for me. It was only at the top of the mountain that I could have saved myself or my world. It was only at the top that my salvation lay. The rumbling destruction was the signal that all good things were done, past, and never to be seen again. Only darkness would be the future. Only blackness would be my companion from this time forward. And the Stygian ground opened to swallow me. Part 1, Sunday, October 22nd, 2000. Chapter 1. I sat up in bed, soaked and reeking of sweat, panting like there was a 50-pound weight on my chest. The buzzing dissonance from the mountain dream continued, penetrating my skull like a dull scalpel. Bzzzt. I gripped the sides of my head. Bzzzt. What in the hell? It took me a long second to figure out what it was. Oh, damn, the cell phone, I muttered through a dry, husky, almost painful voice. Ugh. I turned my head slowly and stared at the offensive instrument cracking open my skull. I'd never believed in precognition, but I didn't want to pick up that bloody thing. Damn, I mumbled again. I just knew this was something I didn't want to hear. The raucous call repeated for the 5th or 6th time. Whoever it was, they were certainly persistent. I swore silently. It was my work phone, so there were a limited number of people who might be calling me. But just the fact that it was ringing at all suggested I was better off ignoring it. I swore a bit more, hesitated through another bandsaw-like buzzing ring, and picked it up. Bratenahl, I grunted. Ed? Echoed a grating male voice at the other end. I sighed. Yes, Arnold, it's me. We need you. This is Sunday, Arnold. I thought I was still on vacation until tomorrow. Arnold was Captain Arnold Grabowski, the 3rd District Commander of the Cleveland Police Department. Arnold had arranged a day of sailing and fishing for me. My rented sunfish was in its slip and ready to leave from Whiskey Island. I just had to get down there and disappear into the wet isolation of Lake Erie. Then it would just be me and the fish. Paradise, huh? My day of sailing was to have been the integral end of a stress-free holiday that the city of Cleveland insisted I take after months of 50-hour weeks. Sorry, Ed, said my boss, sounding entirely unapologetic. I know how much you were looking forward to the fishing. Yeah, right. Just what I wanted. Time off to be by myself, to sit and think. Whoopee. Look, Arnold, I'm in no mood to counsel anybody. I'm sure I wouldn't do them much good. I'm not feeling very empathic this morning. I rolled over onto my side, sensing every sore muscle in my body threatening a mutiny. I moaned. And I feel like crap. Well, it would be nice if you could do some counseling here, but that's not what we need you for. Well, you're just going to have to... What? I was brought up short by Grabowski's last comment. I was a police psychologist. I had worked for the behavioral section of the Cleveland Police Department for the last 5 years and been assigned to the roaring 3rd District for the last 3. I'd spent a good portion of those years counseling cops or crime victims and not much else. It was a fulfilling job, but despite that fulfillment, I'd always been disappointed that I hadn't been able to use my knowledge of the criminal mind for very much. It had never been called for by anybody. The department had several other full-time forensic psychologists who did no clinical work and were assigned as needed to the various precincts.